One of our brilliant Sky News Australia commentators, Paul Murray, calls our current Energy Minister Chris Bowen Casanova because he screws everything he touches. He has certainly done that with the Australian energy grid, demolishing dependable clean coal power stations in favour of unreliable and intermittent wind and solar. Spikes in wholesale electricity prices can reach tens of thousands of dollars per megawatt hour when things go wrong, because capacity is so stretched, it's like a third world country. Now Casanova Bowen is turning his unique skill set towards wrecking the Australian light vehicle market by mandating radical emissions targets that would force the two most popular Australian vehicles, the Ford Ranger and the Toyota Hilux, out of the market. All of this at precisely the same time that even the extreme green Biden administration is pulling back on those targets, knowing that they are both unachievable and highly politically unpopular. These two models, known colloquially as utes, have been the Aussie workhorse vehicle for decades, and now they're being threatened by this mad stampede for net zero. As we shall see, if this continues, it will be a disaster for business and consumers alike. Casanova Bowen is once again living up to his reputation. Welcome back to MGUY British engineer and lawyer turned Sydney YouTuber. Please be sure to like, share and subscribe, hit the notification bell, drop a comment down below, and don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Twitter X. The Motor Trades Association of Australia has analysed the market and has a damning assessment of the consequences. Revealed the challenge facing our top car brands. Almost half the nation's 20 top-selling vehicle manufacturers will have to make significant adjustments if they are going to survive the government's proposed vehicle emission standards, according to modelling by one of the nation's leading automotive groups. A colour-coded analysis prepared for the industry by Matt Hobbs, Chief Executive of the Motor Trades Association of Australia, shows that under the preferred option outlined by the government, 9 of the top 20 manufacturers have at least one code red challenge in trying to ensure their small and light commercial fleets can reduce emissions by more than 60% in 5 years. Mr. Hobbs said the industry supported the need to reduce vehicle emissions, but was concerned at the proposed pace of change, believing it could drive out or price out vehicles before there were low emissions alternatives that are either affordable or of equal capability. We want to do this, but we've got time for them to listen, he said. Last week, in a briefing to its dealers, Toyota, Australia's highest-selling car maker, expressed confidence it could meet the new standards by selling more low-emission vehicles and reducing the emissions of its top-selling Hilux and Land Cruiser models. However, according to a report by Go Auto News, Toyota said some other brands would be very worried. Under the policy, which will begin on January 1st, manufacturers will have to ensure their fleet of new vehicles sold in Australia meets an annual emissions cap. There will be one cap for smaller cars and another for light commercial vehicles such as utes. The caps will be progressively lowered over 5 years with the aim of driving down emissions by 2030 by encouraging manufacturers to develop and sell more electric and low-emission vehicles into the Australian market. The timeframes involved are simply nuts. To manage this kind of transition in under 6 years is ridiculous. So of course what people will do is either rush out and buy the vehicle that they actually want at the last minute, or just hang on to whatever they've got now. And we'll see the entire auto industry crumble as people stick to maintaining their own existing internal combustion engine vehicles and put 2 fingers up to the government. That's certainly what I intend to do. But as I've said before, this fake urgency is driven by fake alarmism over climate change, and if that factor were removed, there would be the time to develop products and technologies that the public actually wants, rather than having rubbish EVs forced down our throats. We could well end up with what's called the Havana effect, where, like in the Cuban capital, our roads are full of old internal combustion engine cars as people shun EVs and automakers are no longer able to build the cars people actually want. A well-maintained internal combustion engine car will go on for decades, which is a much better outcome for the environment than forcing people to buy EVs that are full of rare earth elements and which have guzzled thousands of litres of fossil fuels in the mining process. I can tell you one thing for sure. Keeping your older car is much better for saving the planet than any of the EV nonsense we're currently being fed.